Dad wants to know, please share about the ending where you whispered to Tommy to raise Steamboat's hand. Your reaction was great, and that made it official. Uh, that's interesting. I don't know that I've ever paid any attention to that.
Oh, for some reason, I think Tommy was just stunned. I said, man, raise his hand.
Gavin says the Steamboat trilogy in '89 is still regarded as the best series of matches in American wrestling history. How do you think they compared to the series you had with Steamboat in '84? Maybe they just didn't have the same audience.
I'm sure 84 just as good, but just didn't have the same audience. We started working together when we were both in our 20s. I'm 40 here. So this is 89. We started working with each other in 1976 or 7. What is it? You like that?
77, yeah.
Huh?
I think it's 77.
Yeah. So that's how many years later? My God, that's
12 years later.
12 years later. You can imagine how many times we worked.
Matthew Prong says, what do you consider the best match of the '89 Steamboat trilogy? Of course, he's asking about Chicago, New Orleans, and Nashville. Is this your favorite?
This or Nashville? I'd have to look at Nashville again. We just struggled to be in New Orleans. There was no crowd because they didn't advertise it.
Run. Where does '89 rank for you in terms of professional and personal satisfaction?
Well, I obviously enjoyed working with him a lot, but this was the start of the Jim Hurt issues, so it probably wasn't my favorite year. I can remember when someone said, "Well, Flair's 40. I mean, we got to move on."
Right.
Randy Orton's 40. I watched him last night. He's still the best worker in the business.
A classic Tommy Young push right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you probably would agree you had more fun in like 85, 86. That Horseman Rocket run.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That's
In terms of fun, oh my God. I didn't know you were asking me that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Ben Ledbetter says, Nate, since you were both trained by Vern Gagne, how much do you attribute Vern's training for one of the greatest trilogies between you and Steamboat? That's something I hadn't really thought about, but he was old school, man. It was all about cardio with Vern, and that probably didn't hurt, huh?
Yeah, but in terms of wrestling, I'm going to give Vern the most credit that I give Vern for guys like Rick and I is he made us tough. You could not possibly survive in this business back then if you weren't tough enough to get in it. I mean, that meant travel, work ethic, willing to give your body up to guys that didn't know what they were doing half the time. I mean, it was a whole different time. Not everybody was Ricky Steamboat.
Right.
Far from it, which I found out the first time I went on tour as a world champion. That's one of the reasons, too. Rick wouldn't have enjoyed that. Wrestling a guy that nobody knows in the world and nobody cares about for an hour is not a dream job.
Overall, what'd you prefer? We saw you wrestle Sting last week. We saw you wrestle Steamboat this week. Did you have a match that you preferred of the two?
Oh, I think that with Steamboat, it could be technically considered better, but I loved working with Sting so much. But it was with Steve, it was more like he was the superhero.
Yes.
With Ricky, it was we worked like we were equal in strength, equal in ability. With Sting, it was my honor to be able to take the press slams and have him no sell and stuff like that. And a lot of guys didn't understand that. People got mad at me for doing that with him and Luger, and I would say, I was at a wrestler would say, "Why are you doing that?" I said, "Because I'm on top and I got to draw money."
Right.
And but they don't have the time in the ring to be to be as technically strong as a guy like Ricky. That's on me. No one's going to say, "Well, he's not technically good enough to be in the ring with Flair." It's Flair's not drawn anymore. But if I'm keeping the building full, and I'm going to work with a guy that I want to, and I'm going to get what he is, the best of what he has in him out. And I don't care what I have to do it. That's my responsibility.